Hey, welcome everybody. It's time once again for another episode of our community podcast. Brought to you by the Orange County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and Orange County's only community radio station, OC Talk Radio. Streaming live from our studios here at the University of California, Irvine's Beale Applied Innovation Center. And John, it's not even summer and we're talking swimwear here. What are we doing?
Well, we have another special guest with us today. She is the owner and founder and designer of AZZUL Swimwear. She's also on the OC Fashion Week committee. She's also the vice president of C Plus Electronics. She's one of the founders of it, a very successful business entrepreneur, and she's a leader in the homeless lunch ministry at St. Thomas More Catholic Church. Welcome, Ms. Jessica Becerra.
Thank you so much, John, for having me. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, thank you so much for allowing me to be here and having this amazing platform for all of us Hispanic business leaders in Orange County to come on and really talk about our just journey, through entrepreneurship, through a lot of different ventures. Thank you.
Well, we're excited to have you because not only have you launched your own fashion design swimwear, which there's a story behind. I think it's a great story that involves your dad, who's a veteran in the military, of course. And we'll go into that shortly. And we'll also talk about how you started of course, C Plus Electronics, a very successful business. And more than anything, we'll talk a little bit about what we're doing as a collaboration with the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Down the way, we're going to be doing a really cool community, cultural, collaborative event that's going to feature art, music, fashion, which is your specialty with some of your friends.
Yes.
But more than anything, we want to start off the show by getting to know you because a lot of our viewers and listeners, it's important they get to know the entrepreneur in you. That's obviously the reason why you're also part of our chamber, because you're a successful entrepreneur. So if you don't mind sharing a little bit about yourself, maybe where you grew up and, how you got to this point.
Of course. So I'm originally from El Paso, Texas, and I have amazing role models, my parents. My father, U.S. veteran, was drafted at Vietnam War. My mom, immigrant from Mexico. So early on, I had a very strong vision and parents that really showed us what it is to be strong. From watching my dad go through his struggles of post-traumatic stress and the effects of the war. To my mother, coming into this country and working really hard, cleaning in the hotels in El Paso and, really working hard. So early on, I learned that work ethic, that nothing comes easy. You have to go out there and you have to get it. Whatever you want, you can accomplish. But, having role models and having people that really love you and show you the way, I think really made an impact in my life. So I really am thankful for them. And I think that this generation and every generation following should have a great foundation. I think foundation is really important. Family is really important. And I think coming back to the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, I think this is what we are all about, family and networking and having that support in place.
How did you end up in California from El Paso, Texas, if you don't mind sharing that?
El Paso, Texas is, a smaller city, in comparison to like LA or any of the big cities. And I always wanted to see the world. I wanted to see what was out there. So as soon as I graduated high school, of course, like many, followed a boyfriend and ended up in San Francisco and eventually to Orange County. But that's how I ended up in California.
Nice. And do you still visit sometimes Texas, like family out there? Or?
Texas is my foundation.
Okay.
You know, that's really dear in my heart. And it's super important to me to really go back to where you're from, where you grew up, never forgetting that. And, you know, my mom is still there. I have family still in Texas. So
Shout out to mom.
yes, to mom for sure.
Yes.
But, you know, Texas is it's in my heart. You know,
great.
that's where I was born.
And tell us a little bit about how you ventured into starting your own business. Obviously, C Plus Electronics,
Yes.
which has been in existence for 20 years.
20 years. Super proud of this. So it's funny how everybody has a story, you know, of entrepreneurship. I kind of fell into entrepreneurship because I got pregnant very early on. So I was in my very early 20s. I met an incredible man that is still the father of my kids and my business partner still. Got pregnant very early in my early 20s. And I think that pushed me to really work even harder. So I already had all of those tools of working hard and pushing through and really going after what I wanted. I wasn't going to let, you know, being pregnant kind of stop me from reaching my dream or even creating something new.
And I've always said children are a blessing.
True
So,
blessing.
you know, they can teach us a lot, right? I mean,
Yes.
raising a child is almost like growing a business, right?
Right.
It's a learning process.
Right.
Right. And
And I think I definitely wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for that specific moment, you know, and everything that happens to you is really for a reason. And I mean, I remember having my full-time job, being pregnant, and opening C Plus Electronics, and during my lunch breaks, shipping out, getting calls, returning calls at nighttime, working. And, you know, as you work hard, you push through, you know, hard work always pays off.
what is C Plus Electronics for those people viewing or listening
Yeah.
for the first time? You know, tell us a little bit about the business.
C Plus Electronics, we are a distributor of electronic components. So we work with a lot of manufacturers domestically and globally on any of their shortages when they're manufacturing. So we have an array of lines where we distribute and franchise distributors of a lot of different lines. We are an advocate for counterfeit prevention within the industry. So we have a lot of certifications with that. We have a lot of training in place for our employees to identify a lot of the counterfeiting, which is a huge problem in the electronic business.
Really?
So, you know, it's been, you know, 20 years of really creating.
So that's your bread and butter, would you say? Right?
Yes, definitely.
That's a bread and butter. And the passionate side of you, from my understanding, and I wouldn't call it a hobby, it's more your passion, right? Is the fashion industry.
Yes.
I know you've done a lot of stuff in New York also. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I think, you know, stepping stone to really fulfilling my dream was C Plus Electronics. You know, it allowed me to be able to have that foundation, the security, financial security, to be able to step back and really go forward with AZZUL Swimwear. And AZZUL Swimwear was created after I lost my dad due to cancer a few years ago. I came back from Texas. I needed to feel like I needed to feel alive. I needed to feel like I needed to find another passion to keep going. And so as I'm sitting there on the floor, going through clothes and putting away clothes, I realized that this could be a platform that I can create. This can get me out of bed every morning. This could be the thing. And so that's how AZZUL Swimwear was born. Through losing and through a tragedy, I was able to really pick up. And AZZUL is, it means the world to me. It means the world to me. And it's my dad.
Share with everybody listening or watching a little bit about AZZUL's Swimwear. Like what is the vision? What is the goal of it? Like, where do you see it, you know, in the future? Obviously share what you've done with it you know,
Yeah.
now in New York, you had a
Yeah.
right a great fashion show out there, right?
Yes. So within Azul Swimwear, I have an amazing partner. Her name is Erica, and she is my cousin.
Shout outs to Erica.
Erica, if you're watching, love you.
Saludos. Yes.
But, you know, we really wanted to empower women. You know, we wanted this platform where it's not just about swimwear. It's about having the platform to be able to talk about different issues, different insecurities, different, just everything about women. What does it take to be a powerful woman? It has nothing to do with swimwear. But it was having that platform to allow us to talk about the real stuff that's going on. You know, so I think that what we're going back to your question, where do we see Azul going? We see us going into big department stores. We see us representing our Hispanic entrepreneurship and passion. And possibly venturing off to men's swimwear,
Oh, nice. Nice.
maybe children's swimwear.
Yeah. I saw that is it the Mission Viejo Malls or something? You
Yeah,
posted?
so we just we have all of our swimwear at Mona Nico Gallery at the Shops of Mission Viejo.
Go out, support.
Yes,
Go to the store there and buy some Hispanic owned female here, right?
yes,
Go
yes.
support, go look at it and see if you can buy some. And I mean, it's really not just talking about it, it's supporting the brand.
Yes,
You know?
yes, and we've got a lot of other shops and boutiques that we're actually putting in our merchandise in starting next week. So we're super excited to let you guys know where to actually go and try it out.
And they can follow, of course, on Instagram.
Yes, follow us on Instagram. Is Azul AZZUL .swimwear. And of course, we have everything online, www.azzulswimwear.com.
Good.
So check us out. We've got a lot of amazing pieces there to show. So yeah, I mean, I think we are on to something bigger than just swimwear.
You know, when I saw your fashion show, I think it was New York or something, you
Yes.
posted the video. What was very different to me in looking at the video was you had a lot of women of color, right? A lot of just different cultures,
Yes.
right? And I can just imagine before the runway, the conversations or the get-togethers or the meetings before, you know, like when they're all together,
Right.
the talks, it goes back to what you were saying earlier about women, you know, being empowered and,
Right.
you know, and hopefully overcoming insecurities.
Right.
So I can just imagine when they're all there talking and getting ready to go on the run. That must be so powerful, right?
Yeah, it was definitely an amazing experience. I think, you know, my cousin and I sat in front of thousands and thousands of beautiful women that came to the casting. And, you know, we had a strategy. How are you going to pick from thousands of girls? We could only pick 10 girls. You know, we talked about it and we strategized. And at the end of the day, we picked girls based on their energy. It wasn't so much about their looks, you know, being in fashion and going into swimwear. It was what energy are they going to bring when they step on that floor? And I think that's really goes further than just swimwear in fashion. It's how are you going to present yourself to the world? You know, and for women, that's everything. When you come into a room, you have to be noticed. How are you going to be noticed? Yes, based on what you're wearing, but it's that energy. And it goes back to that foundation. Your energy means everything. And so when these girls were coming down, everybody was gorgeous, every single girl. But we really focused on that energy. That's how we picked.
Which at the end of the day, and I've never been to a professional fashion show. I mean, we've seen some fashion shows growing up here and there. But you can see that is what's important in these fashion shows
Right.
is when they're like walking with that confidence, that energy, like you said. It really makes the event or the show what it is, right?
And it also showcases your pieces.
Yes.
It looks different.
That's
Your
true.
your clothing looks different when somebody with that power and that energy is wearing it.
Yeah, and to that point, so you sit on the committee for OC Fashion Week,
Yes.
which is coming up.
It's coming up next week. So OC Fashion Week is going on March 4th through the 8th. And super excited to be a part of this amazing organization. You know, OC Fashion Week is pretty new as far as fashion show in Southern California, but we're coming in very strong. We're showing a completely different side. Even within California, we've got LA Fashion Week, which is a lot of the streetwear, different energy in LA. But we really are going to be showcasing a lot of different designers and a whole different energy in Orange County.
Well, I think it's important to also be open-minded to the fact that obviously New York is the mecca, or Europe is the mecca in New
Right.
York of fashion,
Right.
and that we're bringing that to California. So the fact that you've already been in those areas or those places, and now you're bringing your expertise,
Right.
and other people are collaborating with you all to bring this to California and Southern California or Orange County, right?
Right.
I think that's great. I mean, I think we need that, you know?
Yeah, and I think being part of OC Fashion Week committee, it's also another platform for us to bring in a lot of these nonprofit organizations around Orange County. You know, we've got a lot of bigger issues that I think are going to be in the forefront of even Fashion Week. You know, we have great organizations that are needing our support. And I think as we grow and as we have platforms, it's kind of our duty to really help out everybody that needs help.
Well, I appreciate that you've actually accepted to be on our committee for the Orange County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. What we're looking to do down the way, possibly Hispanic Heritage Month, we're looking to lock down a date and a time and all that. It's probably going to be like on a Thursday. We've already had our first meeting with some of our committee members. Our friend Sal from Kroger and our friend Maria, Erica Osorio,
Yes.
and another fashion designer friend of yours, Cynthia.
Yes, Cynthia.
Yes.
Shout out to
Shout
Cynthia.
out to Cynthia. Our friend Teresa, who's one of our
Yes.
ambassadors. We're coming together and we're going to add more probably people to the committee. But our goal is to bring that expertise that you and Cynthia have, and hopefully, in essence, put on an event that's going to feature art, music, and fashion all in one. But we're also going to bring in our friend Oscar Leon, whose school, right, has their own fashion program.
Right.
And we're looking to bring in some young kids, some high school kids, possibly some college kids to be a part of it. And so the whole goal of our event is to be a community collaboration. But what's really cool is we've decided that obviously it's going to benefit veterans, the U.S. veterans, and we're going to have, I don't know if we're allowed to already say this, but we're going to have Marines that are going to be walking with the models
Right.
at the fashion show, which I think is really cool.
You know, I have to tell you, John, when you asked me to come on and be part of this amazing dream of yours and this committee, I cried. I cried because this is true to my heart, and I think bigger than that, it's such for such a great cause. It's really showcasing these veterans, and what better way through, really our fashion and art, and bringing the community together and really showing everybody what we're all about. And I'm just really thrilled and blessed and thankful that you asked me to be part of this.
Well, the dream came from the fact that one of our dear friends, Adolfo, who's a designer, Hispanic designer in LA, designs dresses for my wife for all of the Estrella Awards galas that we've been a part of. And
Right.
He's designed for Jenny Rivera and some other famous people. My sister knows him well. My wife knows him well. And it just so happened that by me attending with my wife to go see the dresses, it was really cool to talk to him and see his passion and his designs.
Right.
And my wife would be like, do you like this one? Do you like this? And it was just a little bit of this is pretty cool, right?
Right.
And then she would, show up to the Estrella Awards, and a lot of our members and friends would be like, what is Mireya wearing
Right.
for the gala? They were looking at what did Adolfo create for her?
Right.
And so it became like a funny kind of fun thing. And now it's been so cool that we've been able to also feature Adolfo, and this year he's
That's
actually
wonderful.
planning attending with us the Estrella Awards, and so it's just kind of really cool how by accident, by default, I guess you could say, because I know my wife loves these gala dresses, right?
Fashion of it.
The fashion of it, right? That's kind of where my interest grew in. This would be cool to one day have a fashion show.
Yeah.
And why don't we see more of that in Orange County? Because we don't,
And
right?
I don't think it's been done here.
Yeah. Well, especially not with the Hispanic community.
Not with the Hispanic
Yes.
community, and really showcasing these emerging designers. That they're waiting for that platform too, to where they can be a part of something bigger, bigger than just fashion. And I think creating this and being part of this committee where we're really creating something big for the community.
Well, we hope to also, hopefully, that event plant some seeds, right?
Right.
In these young future leaders of our community, which a lot of them may be high school, college kids that we hope will attend this event aside from their parents.
Right.
And of course, we're going to involve a lot of businesses and all that. But there's nothing better. Like, I plan on bringing my son who's in high school to help me out that day.
Of course.
Because I want him to start having that vision of, meeting entrepreneurs, hearing their stories, just
Right.
like his dad and his mom are an entrepreneur by, us owning our own healthcare hospice company. But him being in that group in that setting of, these young kids have to see it to believe it, I guess you could say, right?
Yeah, and I think, I have a daughter. She's almost 20 years old. And I can tell you that I brought her to New York.
There you go.
And she was my assistant.
Right.
And I think she saw what I was doing at home, just driving back and forth from LA and fabrics and designing and bathing suits all over the place. And when she came to New York, she really saw what was going on. Everything kind of got pieced together. And she had that moment where she came up to me after the fashion show and after some interviews. She started crying and she said, "I can't believe this, Mom."
Yeah, yeah.
And I think you could tell them all the time, but emerging them
Yep.
and
Yep.
making them part of what you're doing I think that's key.
I was at a bank networking event last night, and a gentleman walks up to me and says, "Hey, I met you at one of the mixers a few months back," and da-da-da. And he goes, and then he introduces me to his wife, and he says, "This is a gentleman I was telling you about that I met from the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce." And he says, and I didn't realize this, but he says, "And that day you brought your son to the networking event." And I was like, "That's right. That was the day my son was off of school, and I took
Right.
him with me." And he goes, and his son spoke so well in front of all of us, and he was so confident. And he's giving me this feedback,
Right.
and I'm just like, wow, I never realized that my son gave that impression that day, right?
Right.
But if I don't ask him, "Hey, do you want to join me? Hey, do you want to go to this thing that I'm going to for the
Right.
chamber?" He never gets in front of these people and speaks, right? And now I'm
Right.
getting this feedback from these people, right? So again, it goes back to, how do we get our youth involved?
Yeah.
How do we continue that mentorship?
Right.
How do we expose them to someone like yourself who's been in New York, who's been in fashion, who's, obviously an entrepreneur, who started her own business, right?
Right.
If out there any of you, have young kids that, you want to bring to some of our events, we have our youth chamber, right? We have our mentorship programs.
Right.
And I think it's important that we're doing that more and more in the community.
Yeah, like you said, planting those seeds.
Yep.
And there's no better way than to really bring them on board so they could see firsthand of what we're doing, what's going on behind the scenes, and what does it take to put on these shows. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of, dedication. And I think you're onto something, John.
We're
with
excited.
this fashion
We're
show.
really excited to have this cultural collaboration, like I said, art, music, fashion
Yes.
event that we're looking to do, possibly Hispanic Heritage Month. Mr. Paul Roberts wants to make a comment. Go ahead, Paul.
I just want to make sure somebody tweeted in. Give us the details. How do they find out about Orange County Fashion Week? Where do they go? When does it happen? Give us all the details. What's it cost?
OC Fashion Week is next week, right?
It's already next week. So definitely follow us on Instagram. I'm going
So
to
that'd be the first week of March for anybody looking at this later.
Correct. It'll be the first week of March. Definitely follow us on Instagram. I'm going to be posting, I think tonight, the exact locations.
Okay.
But you can also follow.
Is it all in one place, like a hotel or something, or is it in multiple places?
That is going to be decided, and I'll have all the details by tonight.
Okay.
But definitely follow us on Instagram to get the location.
What's your
information.
Instagram that they can follow you? Is that okay?
Yeah,
so they
of course. So it's Jessica underscore Becerra.
Okay.
Becerra underscore.
And so it's going to be next week. We're not sure exactly where the locations are, but it's multiple locations, or is it just
Multiple
Mm-hmm.
one?
locations. So they're going to be divided within. Each day is going to have different venue and different designers.
And give us an idea of the cost and where they can buy tickets for
yeah.
this thing.
So there's no cost. I think you can
There's
just.
no cost.
There's
Oh.
No cost to go to OC Fashion Week.
so
Just
you
for our
have, you
members
have
here
to
today.
come.
All right.
Jessica, let's make sure there is no cost. People are going to show up and there's a.
Let me
there's a
call
cost.
Kathy on
Yeah,
that.
let's call Kathy and find out.
Kathy, by the way, is the director of OC Fashion
Shout out
Week.
to Kathy.
Shout out
Okay.
to Kathy. But you can also go on ocfashionweek.com.
Okay.
They're also posting all the information by the minute.
That's awesome.
But follow us, and we will be.
So what do you see when I've never been to a fashion show? I've seen them on television, but I've never actually been to. I don't live in New York. I don't
Well,
live up in LA, so I assume that that's where all the fashion
Yeah.
shows are put on. I didn't know there was one here in Orange County.
So you will find out. You've got VIP
See?
seats
How cool is
for
that?
March 8th, which is where AZZUL Swimwear is going to be.
March 8th?
March
Okay.
8th.
Okay.
Will my wife let me go? I mean,
Your wife is definitely invited.
Bring your wife with you.
Bring
She's
your
the one that
wife.
want to see this stuff. She'd
Yeah.
be poking me, saying,
Bring
"Go look
the
at all
wife with
these
you."
young girls
Yes.
in."
Well, both of you
models
are invited, but
Okay.
yeah, you'll get to see it firsthand. We can explain it all day, but I
But
think when
is
you're
it like
there,
what you see? I mean, they come at you sitting there, and there's a long runway, and
Oh, yeah.
people walk out
yeah,
and they
there's-
show off the different things, and then they're
it's all about it's a whole production. You've got the lighting, you've got the music.
Yeah.
You've
And most
got a different
importantly, I
energy.
think it's great to learn about who the designers are, just like we're
was gonna say,
learning
do you-
about you today,
Do you get a
right?
chance to meet any of the designers or anything? Do they just
well-
come out and wave?
So if you come out, for example, March 8th, you will see the other designers, which I think are two more designers that are going to be on the same day.
Okay.
You'll definitely get to meet them,
Yes.
take pictures.
And you come out and meet Jessica.
Yes,
For those
come
of you
out.
listening, watching, come get a picture,
Are you going to be
autograph.
showing off your swimwear? at one of these
I
events?
will probably not this time around, but I mean, if you go on my Instagram, I'm wearing all of them.
Yeah. But most importantly, I think it's important that anybody listening or watching come out and support, support what we're doing, what they're doing in Orange County, because like you said, it's fairly new, OC Fashion Week.
Yes.
Which is something that's been going on for years in New York and other
Right.
places, right?
Right.
It's important that we support, again, these are what we call entrepreneurs. This is what we consider small or mid-sized businesses
Yes.
or big businesses.
Yeah.
It's important we support. That's what our Hispanic chamber and every chamber is about. It's about supporting anyone trying to grow their business.
Yeah, definitely. So, again, really appreciate the platform that you're really allowing a lot of these small companies and businesses, entrepreneurs to come out and really talk about their brand
Tell
and
their story.
and their story.
Tell
yeah.
their story. We want
That's-
to tell
that's
Story
stories.
behind the brand.
That's what it's about. Well, we've run out of time. I'm so sorry. But please do follow Jessica, of course, on her social media or follow OC Fashion Week. And of course, don't forget our Estrella Awards Gala is coming up April 6th at Disneyland Hotel. And it's another featured event that, we collaborate. We do everything in the community. That's what we're about here at the Orange County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and definitely go support Jessica's AZZUL Swimwear, which is locally here in our community,
Irvine based.
Irvine based,
And there's two Z's in Azul, because I thought Azul is just AZU.
Azul.
Yeah, it's with the extra Z.
You get a little zit.
this is fashion. Come on,
I gotta have a little extra
yeah,
pizzazz.
it's got the European
Pizzazz, right.
Azul, right?
Yes, Azul.
But let's support our local businesses. Let's support our entrepreneurs. Jessica, thank you so much for being in the show and sharing your story. I hope somebody out there listening, a young man, a young woman, whoever it is inspired and motivated to start their own, fashion line, their own business, right? Because
And can I give her 2 extra minutes to tell one thing? Because
Sure. Of
course.
John and I are both good Catholics here.
Oh.
And it says that you run the homeless lunch
That's
ministry
right.
at St. Thomas More. Is that
Yes.
the one in Tustin? Where's St. Thomas More?
It's actually in Irvine.
Irvine, okay.
Okay.
And I'm super passionate about, really giving back to the community. I feel like it's our job,
And so what do you do?
I'm so blessed.
You serve lunch? You bring
So
bring
we
food?
serve, we actually prepare every third Monday of the month. We get
great.
together at the church and we put together 500 lunches.
Wow.
That's great.
So,
And then do people come to you or do you go out to the community?
we
and-
actually work with some shelters around Orange County.
Got it.
Primarily
So you bring the food to them.
Mary's Kitchen, yes. We drop it off and then they distribute it. We work very closely with Mary's Kitchen, dear to my heart.
We should have-
Gloria.
I've
is-
never heard of Mary's Kitchen. I didn't know there was such a place.
Yes.
So shout out to them. Where are they
Yes.
located?
They're in Anaheim.
Okay.
And it's run by the angel Gloria.
That's great.
You have to go and meet her in person. They need a lot of volunteers.
Yeah.
They do an amazing job for the community.
Listen, anyone that is serving our community that is in need of food insecurity or just low-income communities
Right.
that are battling these, as we know, these are tough times for a lot of people. So thank you, St. Thomas More Catholic Church, for doing this, and all those out there that are volunteering. And thank you for utilizing these platforms to get the word out on some of these community services, because that's important.
Yes.
You never know who's listening and needs that service and decides to go to the church and get served.
We
that
had
food.
somebody on
So,
the other day from a charity, and they were talking about how as people get older, these people in their 80s, 90s, they're living alone.
yeah.
And once upon a time, the story that she gave was they were a donor to this church, to this charity, and then they came in one day. They say, "Hey, Joe, whatever his name was," he's like toddles in. He's 85,
Right.
and he says, "I'm sorry, I can't give anymore. I need to ask if you can help
Yeah.
me."
Yeah.
And they were like flabbergasted. He said, "This is so embarrassing. For all these years, I gave,
Yeah.
and now I've
need-
run out of money.
You
I'm
just-
85 or 90 here or something."
But
Yeah.
that goes back to life is not about judging people, right? It's
Right.
not about. It is what it is. Like, things happen, things change. Life is a roller coaster, right? And it's all about giving and helping others. My dad always said, "Una mano no se lava sola." One
Right,
hand cannot
right.
wash itself.
Right.
And with that, that's what it's about. It's about helping each other. That's why we have this show. We
Yeah.
provide these platforms to help each other here at the chamber, and through this podcast to provide services, education, opportunities. And with that, thank you so much, Jessica, for being on
Thank
the
you,
show.
John.
Paul's giving me the dirty look.
Paul,
like, we
thank
got to
you so
go.
much.
I just had to throw that in because you're talking about fun and fashion and everything, but she's down there in the
I know, in the trenches.
helping
Yes.
people too here.
Yes.
And Paul, we'll be waiting for you at
I'll go.
OC Fashion
I'll
Week,
go.
March
Tell me-
8th.
tell me where.
6 p.m.
Okay.
Jessica, before we go,
Yes.
I just want to say your dad is very proud of you.
Thank you.
I know he's very proud of you.
And I think
You shared his story at our meeting, and you had us all crying about how your dad was a veteran and how this was important for you to tell his story wherever you went with your designs and your fashion, and of course how we must always remember the Vietnam veterans. And so, thank you to his service and to all those that are listening that are servicing.
You're
our
gonna get me all choked up now here.
know.
Sir. Talking about vets and
Yeah.
I want to go back to the foundation of being in an amazing family and the product of having somebody that, even though he went through post-traumatic and all these effects of the war, he was still able to be such an amazing human being. Not just a father, but he was very involved in the community and giving back.
And what was his
we'll
name?
have to come.
What was his name?
Bruno Silva.
Okay.
And we'll have to come back another time and just talk about what he did in the community, because it's hundreds of different things that he was a part of.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Well, folks,
Thank you.
there you have it. We have to go, but thank you, Jessica. And thank you, Mr. Paul Roberts, again, and OC Talk Radio for having us in your studios. Folks, please continue to support everything we do. Follow us on social media, the Orange County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce on Facebook. On Instagram, we are OCHCC. Follow us there. You'll see all of our events, our networking events, and everything we're doing in the community with folks like Jessica Becerra, the owner, designer of AZZUL Swimwear. Have a great day, folks. We'll see you soon.
Wow. Well, there's a whole bunch of good reasons to tune in and listen to our community as we share events and the stories of the entrepreneurs populating our community here and the good work they're doing for all of us right here in our community podcast, powered by the Orange County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and Orange County's only community radio station, OC Talk Radio, streaming live from our studios here at the University of California, Irvine's Beale Applied Innovation Center.